Welcome back, dear students. Today we are going to discuss the next topic in the subject Environmental Engineering 1, Module 2, Conveyance of Water. So we know that any water supply project or a water supply scheme comprises of three basic components, that is the source from which the water is taken, then we have the treatment plant, and then the distribution network. So also in the last class we discussed what are intakes. So intakes are structures which are used for collecting water from the source and then supplying it to the treatment plant. So water we know that water is drawn from the sources by the intakes. So after the water is drawn, what is the next step? So the next step is to carry the water to the treatment plant, which may be located usually a little farther away from the source, or it may be even near the source itself. So after the collection of water, the water has to be conveyed or transported by means of some structures or using some method, so that it can be collected and transported to the treatment plant for further treatment of water. So then this process we call it as conveyance of water or transporting the water. Now there are basically two stages in the transportation of water. So transportation of water in a water supply system includes two stages. One is the conveyance of water from the source to the treatment plant. So in the first stage, water has to be taken from the source, it has to be conveyed to the treatment plant for further treatment. And the second stage is the conveyance of the treated water from the treatment plant to the distribution system. So after the water is treated from the treatment plant, we have to further transport it or convey it to the distribution system so that the water can reach the users. So in the first stage, that is in the method where the water is conveyed from the source to the treatment plant, it can either be transported by gravity or it can be pumped, or it may be, that is pumping can be, the water may be taken from the source to the treatment plant either by gravity. So when will water flow by gravity? It can happen when the source is at a higher level compared to the treatment plant. So in this case we need not pump the water. Whereas if the level of the source is comparatively lower compared to the treatment plant, then we have to pump the water from the source to the treatment plant. In some cases, it can be by the combined action of both gravity and by pumping, again depending upon the relative elevation of the treatment plant and the source of supply. Now coming to the second stage, that is the conveyance of treated water from the treatment plant to the distribution system. So in this stage or the second stage, water transmission may either be by pumping into an overhead tank. So after the water is being treated, it can be, suppose the treatment plant is at a lower level, what we do is the water from the treatment plant after complete treatment will be pumped to a tank which is at a higher level, that is called as an overhead tank, and then it is supplied to the public by gravity, or again it may be, in some cases it may be directly pumped to the water main for the distribution. So these are the two stages of transportation of water. Now, what are the systems of transport or conveyance? So we know that the arrangements for the transportation of water from the source of supply to the treatment works, and then subsequent distribution to the inhabitants of various towns or cities, that forms an important part of the waterworks system. Now the source of supply is like I told you, it may be usually at some distance away from the towns or cities where it has to be supplied. So hence it is necessary to construct the structures for the transportation of water. So these structures we call them as the conduits. So they are called as the conduits. Now what are the different systems of transport or conveyance? So as you see here, there are mainly two systems of transport or conveyance. First one is the free flow system. So free flow system is a system wherein it can be by using gravity conduits or open channels. So in this system, actually the surface of the water in the conveying section will flow freely due to the force of gravity. And in such a conduit, we can say that the hydraulic gradient line coincides with the water surface and it is parallel to the bed of the conduit. So hydraulic gradient line, I hope you are all familiar with it. You would have studied that in your fluid mechanics too. Fluid mechanics too, you would have studied what is a hydraulic gradient line. So it is a line which connects the piezometric head of flowing water at various points. So this in the gravity system or the free flow system, we see that the hydraulic gradient line will coincide with the surface of the water and it will be parallel to the bed of the conduit. And now coming to the now again in this free flow system, it is often necessary to construct very long conveying sections that suits the slope of the existing ground, and we use various sections for the free flow. Usually they are called as the canals, then we have the flumes, aqueducts, and grade canals, grade tunnels, etc. Now coming to the pressure system. So here in this case, unlike the gravity system, we will be transporting or conveying water using the pressure conduits. So these are actually closed conduits which flows under the pressure above the atmospheric pressure. In the free flow system, the pressure will be it will be under the atmospheric pressure, and in the pressure system it is actually closed conduit, so the pressure will be above the atmospheric pressure. So here the bed or the invert of the conduit in the pressure flow will be independent of the grade of the hydraulic gradient line, and therefore it follows the natural available ground surface, and thus it requires a lesser length of the conduit. So this is a pressure system. So now we will see what are the various types of conduits or conveyors. So after the water is being collected, it is conveyed to the city by means of what we call as the conduits. So what are the different types of conduits? So like I told you, like the system itself, the conduits also may be classified as gravity conduits and pressure conduits. So if the source of supply is underground water, usually there is no problem, as these sources will be mostly in the underground of the particular city itself where we plan to provide the water. So here the water will be drawn from the underground sources by means of tube wells, and they will be pumped to overhead reservoirs, and from there it is distributed to the town by the gravitational force. So hence at such places there will be no problem for the conveyance of water from the source to the treatment works, that is when the source of supply is at a lower level. Now in case of in cases where the sources of water supply is a river or a reservoir, and the town is situated say at a higher level, then the water will have to be pumped and conveyed through pipes. We call them as the pressure pipes. So if the source is available at a higher level than the town, so it will be better to construct the treatment plant very near to the source and supply the water to the town by gravitational forces only. Now we will see what are the different types of gravity conduits. So gravity conduits, these are as listed here. These are the various types of gravity conduits. One is the open channels, then we have the aqueducts, then tunnels and flumes. So what are they? So open channels, you would have already studied in detail open channel hydraulics in fluid mechanics too. So in fact the subject environmental engineering 1, the prerequisite subject is fluid mechanics, which you have already studied, the pumps, the classification of pumps, open channel, etc. Well, so coming to open channels. So open channels are occasionally used to convey the water, from the source to the treatment plant, and these are actually constructed very cheaply and easily by cutting the grounds and the banking in the cutting the grounds in the case of high grounds, and also by cutting the banking in the case of low grounds. So here what we should see is that the channels should be lined properly so that we can prevent the seepage of water as well as the contamination of water. So as the water flows only due to gravitational force, this is a gravity conduit, so in this case the water will flow only due to gravitational force. So a uniform longitudinal slope is given, and the hydraulic gradient line in the channels it should not exceed the permissible limit. What will happen if the hydraulic gradient line exceeds the permissible limit? What will happen? Then there will be scoring action. So that is at the bed of the channel there will be scoring, and this will lead to the water becoming dirty. And also in the channel flow there is always the loss of water by seepage and also by evaporation, because it is not closed. There may be loss of water due to evaporation. So this is a open channel. Now coming to the aqueducts. So aqueduct is actually the name given to the closed conduit constructed. It's actually constructed with masonry, and also it is used for conveying water from the source to the treatment plant or the point of distribution. So the aqueducts again may be constructed using bricks, stones, or RCC, reinforced cement concrete. Actually in olden days rectangular aqueducts were used, but these days we use aqueducts in the shape of a horseshoe, or even the circular sections are also commonly used. And the aqueducts are mostly constructed using cement concrete, and the average velocity should be 1 meter per second. The flow velocity of water in aqueduct should be limited to 1 meters per second. Now the next type of gravity conduit, that is the tunnels. So this is also a gravity conduit in which the water will flow under the gravitational force. Again here sometimes the water will flow under pressure, and in such cases we call them as the pressure tunnels. Then grade tunnels, they are most commonly constructed in the horseshoe cross section, and pressure whenever it comes to a pressure tunnel they usually have a circular cross section. And also in pressure tunnels the depth of water will be generally kept such that the weight of the overlying material will be sufficient to check the bursting pressure. So whenever water flows in a closed conduit there may be a bursting pressure. So in the pressure tunnel the depth of water will be kept in such a way that the weight of the overlying material will check this bursting pressure. Moreover, the tunnels should be watertight, and there should be no loss of water. So this is another type of gravity conduit. Now coming to the flumes. So again these are open channels that are supported above the ground, and flumes are usually used for conveying water when it comes to a valley, and also minor low-lying areas like drains and other whenever there is an obstruction coming in their way. And they are usually constructed with reinforced cement concrete, sometimes even metal or timber may be used. And normally the cross section will be rectangular or circular. Now coming to the pressure conduits. So now coming to the pressure conduits. So pressure conduits are actually those conduits in which the water will flow under hydraulic pressure, and they include normally the pipelines, the pipes, and also the closed aqueducts, and also the pressure tunnels which I just mentioned. And the pressure conduit may be constructed at any elevation below the hydraulic gradient, and even for short distance it can be constructed as a siphon above the hydraulic gradient. And this type of conduit has to be selected depending on various factors like the topography, the type of soil, the volume of water that has to be carried, and also the comparative cost. Okay, so these are as listed here, these are the different types of pressure conduits, of which mostly the pipes are the ones that are commonly used. So coming to the pipes, there are various types of pipes that are used for conveyance of water. As you see here, where we have the cast iron pipes, wrought iron pipes, steel pipes, concrete pipes, cement lined cast iron pipes, plastic or PVC pipes. We have the asbestos cement pipes, copper and lead pipes, wooden pipes, vitrified clay pipes, and the list goes on. So out of the types mentioned here, the plastic or the PVC and the asbestos cement pipes, wooden pipes, etc. are generally not used for conveyance of water. They are normally used in house drainage or water connection within the individual houses. And we see that cast iron pipes are the mostly or most commonly or most widely used in any water supply scheme, because they have higher resistance to corrosion and also have very long life of about 100 years. And cast iron pipes are manufactured in various lengths, say from 2.5 meters to 5.5 meters. And the fittings of these pipes are also manufactured, uh, and these fittings are also weighed, coated with coal tar, and finally tested. And cast iron pipes are joined together by means of various types of joints. You would have heard the various types of joints like the bell and spigot joint, flanged joints, threaded joints, etc. Now, there are various advantages for using the cast iron pipes in the water supply scheme. Firstly, it is the ease with which the pipes may be joined, or the ease in jointing the pipes, and also it can withstand very high internal pressure. Then it has very high or very long design life, say up to 100 years, and they are comparatively less prone to corrosion. And the main disadvantages of the CI pipes are they are very heavy and difficult to transport, and the length of the pipe available will be lesser. And so whenever we require more lengths, what happens is when the length of the pipe is lesser, we need more joints. So as the joints increases, what happens is there are chances of leakage. And also these pipes are brittle, so they can break or crack easily. Now that is the cast iron pipes. Now coming to the wrought iron pipes, this is also another type of pipe, and wrought iron pipes are manufactured by rolling the flat plates of metal to proper diameter and then welding the edges. So these pipes should be used only inside the buildings where they can be protected from the corrosion. And wrought iron pipes are joined together by various joints or by coupling, or it may be even screwed. And in order to increase the life of these pipes, they are also sometimes galvanized using zinc. And the main disadvantage of these pipes are that they cannot withstand the external load. So if partial vacuum is created by emptying the pipe rapidly, the pipe may be collapsed, or it can be distorted, or the shape may become distorted. Now coming to the concrete pipes. So concrete pipes, they are actually it may be either precast or cast in situ. That is, previously it may be casted in the site or in factories, or it may be cast in situ, that is cast at the site. So plain concrete pipe are used at such places where water does not flow under pressure, and these pipes again are jointed using various joints like the bell and spigot joints, etc. And the plain concrete pipes are usually up to 60 centimeter diameter, and above this they are reinforced, that is above 60 centimeter normally the pipes will be reinforced. And the main disadvantages of the reinforced cement concrete pipes are they are affected by the acids, alkalis and salty waters. Also their repair is very difficult. It is difficult to repair the concrete pipes, and due to their heavy weight, transportation is also a bit difficult, and also the laying cost of these pipes is high. And it is also very difficult to make connections. Unlike the iron pipes, the connection of concrete pipes it is a difficult task. And also porosity may cause them to leak. So there may be leakage of water if the concrete pipes are porous. So these are the different types of pressure conduits. So pressure conduits are mainly in the form of closed pipes or closed aqueducts or pressure tunnels. So with this, we finish the topic conveyance of water.